Hey, good morning and happy Tuesday, folks. This is Kurt with Manana No Mas. I was due actually to go in and teach a course here at 10 o'clock today, 10 o'clock Central, but not going to happen. Not going to happen. Had to postpone till Friday for my student. My student hadn't done their homework, and instead of dragging them to a session and beating on them for not getting their homework done, these are grown people, right? Oh, we're going to say go live. Here we go. Ready to go live. Let's see what happens. This is usually temporary. Wait a minute and try again. Apparently, we're having some kind of an issue with Facebook, but we are currently going out to LinkedIn and YouTube. So periodically, you're going to see me get distracted and push the go live button for Facebook to see if that actually happens. But here's the deal. I was supposed to be teaching a class, and now I've got this extra moment in time. And what I was saying earlier was, why bring a student to a session to beat on them for not doing homework? That's for their betterment, for their, at some point as a coach, you need to hold people accountable. Absolutely. Accountability is a big thing. But if I can scooch an appointment from Tuesday to Friday, what's the big loss? The big loss really isn't there. Now, some Six Sigma people might jump on me and say, Kurt, it's about the details, man. It's about the details. We got to get people held accountable. We got to this, we got to move, we got to go. And to a certain extent, I believe some of that is true. On the other side of the coin, I also realize that I work for the client. I want to be semi-flexible for the client. I want to give them room to breathe, room to experiment. And when we get together on Friday, we will have an accountability conversation about, hey, did you notice how we had to cancel that session because you weren't prepared for Tuesday? We had to go to Friday. Now, it worked this time. It's not going to work every time. What can we do as a team to make sure that you can get your requirements done to participate in this level of coaching? Maybe this level of coaching is too much for you, right? And that's a very fair conversation to have. You see, there's a difference between training and coaching. And coaching is where you're trying to ask the right questions of your subject and get them to better themselves, to come up, a rising tide rises all ships, right? And so you're trying to get them to raise that tide. And in this situation, this person runs a whole crew of people. So there's more than just a family on the line. There's multiple families on the line, a growing business on the line. And it's all there. But I digress. What was the reason for this live today? And I wanted to talk about a positive message I saw on LinkedIn. Now, I'm on LinkedIn almost every day. I have a course on LinkedIn. I have a course on how to grow your connections in LinkedIn without spamming people. Nothing irritates people more on LinkedIn than sending them a connection request and then having an automation that sends them 6 paragraphs of how often to increase appointments or for PMP training, or have you heard about cryptocurrency yet? Nothing boils people up on LinkedIn more than that. And I literally go through and just take people out. Now, a couple of years ago, it's more than a couple now, I'm going to say probably 3-4 years ago. When did the pandemic start? So I had like 1,200 connections on LinkedIn, like 1,200. Now I'm close to 10,000. And I'll be honest with you, I thought, oh, what would I do if I was connected to 10,000 people? That's crazy. It's not crazy. I know people all over the globe now, and I talk to a lot of these people. I schedule icebreaker calls with folks, and we hop on a Zoom call for a quick 15, 20 minutes. And we just, hey, who are you? Who am I? What do you do? What are your passion points? Your LinkedIn page says you do X, Y, and Z. But where are you really putting your energies? And those conversations are phenomenal because most people aren't focused on what's on their LinkedIn page. They're in other things. Maybe they're into mountain biking. Maybe they're into boating. Maybe they're, really focusing on family at the moment. They got a baby coming. Maybe they started raising dogs on the side and then they're just a house full of puppies and love. And those are the conversations to me that light my world. Those are the conversations that become the positivity that I find on LinkedIn. And so some people say, oh, I don't like LinkedIn. It's just like a resume. It's just a bunch of ads. If that's the way you see it, that's what you're going to see. But if you pick your head up and you are more open to what the platform can deliver, you're going to have a much better experience. And folks, if you are coming to this live and you are seeing this on LinkedIn or YouTube at this point, because like I said, it looks like Facebook's broken. But if you are coming to LinkedIn or YouTube and you're seeing this live, jump into the conversation and let's have that conversation. Now, this morning when I was on LinkedIn, one of my first level connections, if you're not aware of how this works, you got first level connections, second level connections, third level connections. A first level connection means you are connected to that person, right? So one of my first level connections had shared a post of one of my second level connections, which means that would be a connection of a connection. So I'm not directly connected with this person yet. I'm not directly connected with this person, but somebody that I am directly connected to is. And so they put up this person's stuff. Now, I am someone that helps people launch their companies. I am someone that I love to help a startup get launched. What are your processes? What's your product? How can we build a web package that represents you well? What can we use for preliminary marketing? What can we use for a lead magnet? And when I work with people in this way and help them develop their business processes, we're able to build a web presence for them that meets their needs, whether it is educational, e-commerce, or even like some kind of a communication membership type platform. We're able to say, okay, well, what are the different membership platform tools that are out there and what's the best for your use case? Some people would do great with like a Facebook, group page. Other people really need to have what they call decentralized social media. So like people need to have their own membership tools inside their own private website. And Mañana No Mas does that for folks. So we help a lot of people get launched. Speakers, authors, coaches, consultants, production companies, production as in media, but also production as in consumer goods. So motorcycles, bicycles, cars, computers, blenders, anything that is sold and then requires service after the sale, any kind of consumer product. And so if you're familiar with the Magnuson-Moss Act of 1976, you would know that a lot of things fall into that consumer product category, but I've tend to focus a lot on power sports, bicycles, cars, things like that. So anyway, I digress. Here's what I want to show you. I'm going to do a screen share of this person that's not a first level connection yet. This person is the opposite of what I do. So I help people launch themselves, right? So you have a startup, you have a company, a coach, a consultancy, a something. I help people launch themselves into the arena. Let's go. Let's do this thing. Lindsay here, human resources and people operations consultant, driving organizational growth through talent acquisition, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Let me go to, that is really interesting how that even works like that. You guys don't see this, but I am actually on the window for StreamYard and it's moving the cursor on the LinkedIn page. I think that's pretty remarkable. But if we take a look at Lindsay and we take a look at her posts, there's a bunch of positivity here. I personally do not have a lot of positive things to say about the job market right now. I came from an executive position at Suzuki. I was laid off in 2020 at the beginning of the pandemic, and there were no jobs for me, none. Middle-aged white dude looking for an executive position in e-learning. Nope. There were, all the quotas were low for every other hiring group, and it just wasn't going to happen. So in the midst of layoffs and office shutdowns and businesses closing and the supply chain breaking, remember that training is generally a reflection of sales. I don't believe that's the way it should be, but that's the way corporations run their businesses. So they'll say, well, sales are up, so now we can spend money in all these other departments. And when sales go down, they go, oh, we got to tighten the belt. We can't do this. And they'll spend more money on marketing and more money on sales going after those unit sales while they cut the budget everywhere else, which is usually training, service, customer service, sometimes even the legal department. And so See, there's a lot of reasons why I don't like corporate America. I don't mind being in business and serving corporate America, but it's not the place for me to be employed in any longer. Okay. But Lindsay does this. So, and I'm pointing out she's super positive. Job seekers, never forget how resilient you are. You're searching during one of the most competitive markets most can recall, and you continue to persevere no matter what. Perfect, right? So she is like, she's addressing it. She's not like one of these recruiters out there saying, send me your resume and I'll find you a spot. Like, that's just not going to happen, right? You've been rejected hundreds of times. You're tired, you're discouraged, you're uncertain, you're frustrated, disappointed, maybe even angry. And then she goes in to say, but you refuse to give up. You keep trying because this is the only way through this. I think you can make your own website, become a consultant, and sell your services. That's what I think. But Lindsay's got a different perspective because she works in a different part of the machine. But this is what I love. Now, the post that I saw shared by her today by my first level connection was it said that there was a white collar recession. And I thought that it was a very realistic term that she had coined there, a white collar recession. And then the rest of her message was, if you're looking and you're not finding a position, it's not you. Don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up. Don't give up, but know that you're in a very tight market. Okay. Layoffs don't discriminate based on your loyalty, work ethic, experience, knowledge, title, position, level, job function. I can agree to all of that. Boom. This particular individual is hitting this very, very well. You can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf, right? I love that she shared that. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you can always control, and I'm sure it goes into some positive energy, right? Your attitude, your mindset, your choices, your actions, your effort. Folks, this is the type of person that I recommend other people to follow. And this is why. I've got a few that let's just be real. Can we be real for a moment? If we go into a homepage of just about anybody and we start to surf the homepage, we're going to see some happy things and we're going to see some sad things. I got a whole run on vaccine injuries and people in government that lie and what we would call conspiracy theories, but somehow coming true. I have a page full of this. I have a page still full of, you're a white supremacist if you're this. It's Pride Month, so if you're a married white male, you're a hateful person. I'm seeing like crazy messaging come through even in my LinkedIn space. And, we say that LinkedIn is for business, right? But so much more of it is coming. It's like, remember a few years ago, they would say, why is this post on LinkedIn? It should be on Facebook. Well, it's become more and more like that. But let me tell you some of the folks that I like to follow. Look right here. Mark Sheffield, genius, and very positive person. If he puts something negative on LinkedIn, it's going to be followed up with a solution. Very rarely will Mark put up something negative that's not followed by some kind of a positive. Now, let's talk about the automotive field, right? There's John. Why did I literally just blanked on his name. It'll come back to me. I swear it will. Miher, right? What about the other guy? How do you spell Miher? It's Paul Miher, Sunday Night Live. There we go. This guy, Paul Miher. I think that's how you say his name. I was on his podcast once. This guy does a show every Sunday night, talks about people in the automotive industry, super positive, love what he does. There's the guy that runs Paragon Honda. His name is Brian. Let's see if he comes up quickly for me. What was his name? If I say Paragon, Brian Benstock. There we go. This guy. You want to follow a leader in the LinkedIn space that's positive. Brian's in the car business, so don't get me wrong, right? Some people are like, oh, cars, I don't want to talk about cars. People in the car business are slimy. There are tremendous leaders in the car business, tremendous leaders. And when you look at the level of inventory and the value of inventory that they manage, the people that they manage, the millions of dollars that can go through these businesses and what these folks are responsible for, and how someone like Brian actually gets out of the box, changes his marketing a little bit. He was just on talking to Grant Cardone, and he was like, I made a decision in 2017. It added $53 million to our business. Imagine following somebody like that and getting inspiration and positivity. Now, here's what I like about people like Brian. He's a manager in the car business. Yeah, great. If you follow Brian, you're going to see he's into continuous education. He's into health. He takes care of his body, goes to the gym, does all these positive things. And when you see his feed, it's full of positivity. I got another one for you. David Valentine. David Valentine was on my podcast. He was on the Mañana No Mas podcast. This guy in his 20s went to the doctor. I don't feel good. He was working himself to death. Doctor said it's the most stressed person he'd ever seen in his office. And somehow, some way, David pulls himself out of that and now owns, last time I talked to him, I believe it was eight different 7-figure companies, but he still has his sanity and lives with his family in the woods in Washington somewhere. Like, this is somebody you want to follow. This is somebody who found a way to get above and beyond and go into things. Now, when you jump into LinkedIn, for example, LinkedIn, Facebook, any of these social media things, jump on the x.com. You're going to find some core people that identify, and let me just take this off the screen. You're going to find some core people that you identify with. You're going to find some core people that you're like, this guy seems pretty solid. And when you look at their profiles, you're going to say, okay, they've got good activity. They post on a regular basis. They take care of these positive things that I like to see. John, what was John's last name? He's a manager in the car business. He plays the saxophone. Why can't I? It's killing me. Anyway, these positive people that you follow, that you create as your anchor in social media, if you follow these people, friend them, connect to them, message them, God forbid, send them a short message that says, hey, I enjoy following you. I like your positivity. Would it be possible to have a short icebreaker phone call, right? Just jump on a phone call with them real quick, 10, 15 minutes, and be like, hey, my name's such and such. I've been following you on LinkedIn for 3 months. I really appreciate your positive posts. What do you do when you're not doing this? Or is there anything I can do to help you on your end? Hey, you've been a good inspiration to me on social media. Is there anything I can do on my end that would add any value to you, right? Come to people, hat in hand, be helpful, be willing to participate. And you might be looking at this video right now, whether you're watching it live or you're coming in afterwards and watching the replay. You might watch this and go, oh my God, this Kurt guy is crazy. How much time does he think I have in a day? Folks, I spend 45 minutes to an hour every day on LinkedIn. That's it. I'm not on here all day. 45 minutes to an hour. I take a look at my messages. I try to delete as much spam as possible. I know that I say growing is a great thing on LinkedIn, but it also brings in a lot of spam. I get a lot of spam, not going to lie. LinkedIn does a really poor job of keeping spammers out of the system. But I'll go through and I'll delete those real quick. I'll take a look at my notifications and see who's participating with any of my posts. And then I jump into the way that I say this is kind of weird, but I jump into the feed. I jump into my homepage and I look for those anchors. I look for those positive folks that I follow. And I begin to say, well, who are they resharing? Who are they making comments to? And then is there anything in here that I can add value to? Very rarely do I jump, on the bandwagon of negativity and say something wacky or crazy. I try to be positive. I try to offer solutions, especially in the WordPress space. If somebody has a question about a WordPress website or a tool or, hey, does anyone have a good form tool for whatever? I'm all over that because I can add value to that all day long. And so I'll do that. And by having these positive influences in this space, I'm able to keep my head more clear for all the work that I do online. I am online all day, all day. Like, it's so weird. I'll look around at night in my house, we're trying to watch TV or something, and my wife will have her phone in her hand. My son will have his phone in his hand. My phone is on a charger or it's away from me in a lot of cases because I've been on the computer all day. I don't need to see more of this stuff. And so even if I'm just trying to like build the next course or consult the next client on a SCORM application, or consult with a client about processes in their assembly plant, when I am having these conversations, it's typically virtual. It's typically on Zoom or StreamYard. And while I'm doing it, I've got notifications popping up on other screens, and it's nonstop. Those of us that work online, we know that this is nonstop. I wasn't even trying to watch the Trump trial, but I knew everything that was going on in the Trump trial because it was just nonstop coming in through every feed that there was. And I think in order to stay positive, in order to stay focused, in order to really drive your purpose, to really drive to put your energy where it needs to go, you need to have these positive social anchors. I don't know if that's a new phrase. I don't know if I just made that up today, but positive social anchors. If you don't currently have like a dozen positive people that you follow for positive energy, I am going to implore you, I'm going to beg you to do that. As much negative as there is out there, and as much as we gravitate to the negative, there's a ton of positive stuff out there. There's a ton of it. We just have to find it. And once you find it, you want to follow it. And you want to be like, this is awesome. I work directly with the Marine Retailers Association. And so if we were to go back to the screen share and add that back to the screen, and if I were to go back to that application that I was in, and we were to type in Marine Retailers Association, I was going to put in, God, my fingers, Marine Retailers Association of America. Folks, you're not going to find negative people in here. This is employee onboarding, win-win. Look at that, right? Onboarding, here we go. Boatyard, right? Boatyard is a system people use to run their marinas, right? It's no secret. Efficiency is directly related to profitability, and it's a training course for how to make your service department more efficient. You could just go through this and go, wow, there's a lot of positive energy here. I work directly with Stevie Cook, and I guarantee you, if we go look up Stevie Cook, boom. We look up Stevie Cook on here, you're not going to find negativity. You're going to find positive, reinforcing, great energy. Liz Keener, another person, positive, full of positivity. So these are the folks that I want to encourage you to reach out to and follow. Now, you may have seen me post for Mañana No Mas on LinkedIn. I have a thing that I call the Mañana No Mas LinkedIn User of the Day. So typically people will schedule an icebreaker call with me. I'll get to know somebody, and then I'll put up a post that'll say the Mañana No Mas LinkedIn User of the Day. And then I will link that person and then put a short description of why I'm choosing them as the LinkedIn User of the Day. Just had a great conversation with them. They were super positive. They've got a great mission. Their business is awesome. It adds value to this people group, whatever. And I find something positive to try and share about these people so that the 10,000 people that are in my circle have a chance to see that and go, hey, Kurt likes that dude. I'm going to check that out. And that's just one way of paying it forward in this space. Earlier, I said I had a course on LinkedIn, right? So if you go to kurtvonanand.com or if you go to mañananomas.com, you will see that there is a course available on how to grow your LinkedIn without spamming your targets. I would encourage you to take that course. It's in a lot of regards, it's fairly basic, but in a lot of regards, it's revolutionary because you can grow your LinkedIn quickly. You can have icebreaker phone calls with a ton of people. You can set a lot of meetings without spamming people. I hate spamming people. And I told you I was up around 10,000 connections. At one point, I was over 10,000. Then I took a lot out, and then it crept back up again. And I took a lot out, and now it's creeping back up again. Now, I don't know why I'm so comfortable around the 10,000 mark. LinkedIn will allow you to have 30,000 followers, not followers, connections. LinkedIn will allow you to have 30,000 connections. And I thought, that's crazy. I'll never have that many. But when you get to 10,000, you're like, holy crap, I've only got 20,000 left. Isn't it weird the way your brain works? And then I started looking. Well, who out of this connections list turned into a spammer? Let's get rid of them. Who on this connections list doesn't have a profile picture or a cover picture? Let's get rid of them. Because if they're not participating, what's the sense, right? And so out of my 10,000 connections, again, roundabouts, out of my 10,000 connections, I have people that are basically participating in the system, largely positive most of the time, and have been willing to have an icebreaker conversation with me so I really understand how they tick. How cool is that? That's tremendous. I didn't have that kind of effect when I was in the Facebook world. I'm still connected on Facebook. I always say, man, one of these days I'm just going to disconnect Facebook. Today's another one of those days when I'm trying to go live on Facebook and it's not working. Try it again. And it's not working. But the world's on Facebook. They're there, right? So I keep it as that necessary channel to do. Like, I have clients that will only communicate through Facebook Messenger sometimes. And so, yeah, I have Facebook and I do use Facebook, but not at the level I can use LinkedIn. I think the dynamic is different on LinkedIn, and we have a lot more control over who we choose to be those positive social anchors that we want to connect to. And so I think I've driven that point kind of hard today. If you have any spare time, I would love it if you would connect to me on LinkedIn, especially if you're someone that participates and you're positive and you're open to an icebreaker call. I stress a lot of times, like, these icebreaker calls are not sales calls. They're networking calls. They're, what is this person really like? Is this someone I really want to be connected to? Is this someone I could do business with in the future? Is this someone that knows somebody that I should know? Do I know somebody that they should know? Right? And in a lot of cases, that's what happens. I'll be talking to somebody and they'll say, well, I've been working on this in aviation for a long time, but I'm trying to break into automotive. Well, what a great opportunity. I know 50 people in the automotive space. Would you like to, who do you want to be connected to that put you in the right direction there? And that's the reward. That's the reward, helping folks out. And, if you help enough folks out, sooner or later it comes back around. So that's that. I really wanted to say, follow those positive voices. I think I've hit that hard. Be open to who you follow. You'll notice in my examples, they weren't all in automotive. They weren't all in the WordPress space. They weren't all in corporate America. They weren't all entrepreneurs. It's a diverse crowd of people that I've got in my connections list. And that's very purposeful, very purposeful. I want to make sure that I have a well-rounded, what I would consider my network. I want to make sure that is Google used to have a thing called circles. Remember the Google circles? That's the way I think about it. I want a well-rounded circle of people so that if I have a question about software, I got somebody. If I got a question about aviation, travel, HR, anything, mechanical maintenance, I've got somebody that I can make a connection with and go, okay, how do we put this together? How does this work? Can you point me in the right direction? And if I've treated people properly in the past, when those needs come up for me, that's going to happen. I do business with PR people, with graphic designers, with hosting companies, software companies, and our connections in LinkedIn solidify those business relationships, which makes shopping for those needs that much easier. I can't encourage this enough. Obviously, I'm sold out on the whole process. So if you have any questions, if you'd like access to that course, feel free to hit me up in LinkedIn Messenger if you would like, and I'll point you in the right direction. And I'll see you on the other side. Have a good one. Bye-bye.